a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And welcome to the show. Appreciate you spending some time with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we really appreciate it if you call in and support the show, support the program, supporting the local economy by supporting our consumer advocates and all of our expert contributors, local area business owners and sales reps here in Tampa Bay. Reach out to the hotline. We'd love to connect with you. We've got a great lineup. Heather Callahan back in studio with us. We're going to talk mortgage here with Fluxx Funding. We got a realtor that was fined for posting mortgage information on social media. Also have a major cybersecurity breach from a large company, as well as rates are improving. Rates looking like they're getting better. And also population trends. Florida Realtor Magazine has an interesting article that I'm going to talk about some of the population trends. You know, the number one county in the state of Florida is just our friends to the east, Polk County, our friends over there in Polk County, Lakeland area. And it's the seventh fastest growing county in the nation. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into some of the stats and population trends with Heather. Also, Jason Mears, our insurance expert contributor. We're going to talk about a great time right now to reshop your home insurance rates and why, the reasons why, what's behind that, flood insurance, other issues happening. So we're going to be heavy on real estate today on the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. One of our strategies that we employ to help sellers sell faster for more money is we feature our real estate listings live on air. It's a unique strategy, maximum exposure, helping sellers profit more and sell faster to get that maximum exposure on the Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you sell faster here for more money. So we've got a property here on Southwind Drive, 7300 Southwind Drive. This one was actually just featured in the Tampa Tribune or the Tampa Bay Times here over the weekend. It was an interesting article from Roxanne on our team, the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. The gentleman that wrote the article was kind of comparing neighborhoods, talking about affordability in Pasco County. 7300 Southwind Drive. This is 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1726 square feet. Perfect blend of comfort and luxury in a tranquil setting. Nestled on a double lot. You got a beautiful large lot here. 18 by 30-foot pool. Large swimming pool. Private pool in your backyard. And what I love about the community of Sea Pines is that you have a community access through a association boat ramp with access to the Gulf of Mexico. Sea Pines, 7300 Southwind Drive in Hudson. One of our hot listings. We've got about 60 listings with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you sell faster for more money, working with buyers, sellers, and investors as well. 140 Glendower Circle. This is a property that we've got in East Hillsborough County at Sun City Center. Glendower Circle, unit number 1, 55-plus community, gated community, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, attached carport with additional golf cart parking, and you have an enclosed glass lanai. You can see all of our real estate listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com. Check out PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
Sun is shining, the weather is sweet.
And a quick shout out to our friends over at Brio Tuscan Grill, the official Tampa restaurant partner for the Consumer Quarterback Show. Brio Tuscan Grill, International Plaza Mall. Excellent food from scratch kitchen. Say hello to Chef Oscar Ramirez. Let him know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take him up on those special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. I think you're hooking you up with a free appetizer over there just by mentioning that you heard about them here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. They've got some great apps over there too. Great bruschetta, excellent calamari, the beef carpaccio, excellent food. Brio Tuscan Grill. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. All right, Heather Callahan is back in studio, mortgage loan expert contributor and a business partner working with Robert Paredes as well. So welcome back.
Thank you very much. Again, Heather Callahan, Fluxx Funding, and we're going to get that NMLS number right out of the way.
Get it out of the way.
1597939.
There we go. Now we got the mortgage police off of us,
That's
off of
right.
our backs. So yeah, population trends. I wanted to jump into some of these talking points that we have, but and also we'll get to the social media. But this was pretty interesting. So I'm reading right out of Florida Realtor Magazine here. It's a recent publication. And it says about in-migration population trends. This is interesting because, last year Florida had 319,000 net in-migration under the management of Florida's legislature, the law changes, and the great Governor Ron DeSantis that we have here in Florida. That's expected to continue. So it says there's a fuel of demand for homes and condominiums over the next 5-year period. They're projecting that it's going to average nearly 300,000 or 817 people per day moving to the state of Florida. That's according to the National Demographic Estimating Conference. Florida is still a hot place to be, as it's an ideal location for untethered remote workers with larger and more affordable housing compared to the Northeast and the West Coast. So I'll take your comment on that, Heather. What's your comments there?
Well, you mentioned Polk County, and I really do think that our Sheriff Grady Judd has something to do with the influx of population in that particular county, because it's got nationwide exposure just from his little clips on, TikTok and Facebook and things of that nature.
That's true.
But on the other side of that, you can buy, you can get more for your money in Polk County. You can get more land, more house.
Exactly. More bang for your buck.
Yeah, more bang
if
for
you
your
look
buck
at dollar
over there.
per square foot and you really break it down, and more families are these days because of the cost of everything's gone up. The inflation numbers that we've seen, of course, under Biden has been horrendous for almost any area you look at, and the approval ratings show that. But yeah, the location too, between Tampa, between Orlando, and if you ever drive on I-4 and you look to the south, there are so many of those warehouse distribution centers there. I mean, there's a lot of big companies, Publix amongst other brands, Pepperidge Farms, some other big brands basing there. But yeah, what a great area to live, work, and play.
Looks like a lot of great opportunity for employment in that area based on the amount of commercial growth.
Yeah, absolutely. And the affordability factor is definitely something that people are seeing. But to continue on with this Florida Realtor magazine article, it says the population growth has been concentrated into large metro areas, particularly Orange, Hillsborough, Lee, Polk, and Palm Beach counties. So it's interesting. Those are the major areas. And then it goes on to cite Polk County was the fastest growing county in Florida and the 7th fastest in the nation. Isn't that interesting?
Incredible.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, really. It's interesting when you think about that. All of the 9 large metros in Florida are expected to grow by 10% or more in the next decade. So, yeah, we can see that. We can see the continued growth. And then it brings me to the point, too, about competition, because now, people are saying, the traditional over the last few weeks has been rates are high. Last couple months, rates are high. I'm just going to wait it out, just going to see what happens. We're about to have a rate dip. Can you explain to me what you think will happen when that rate dip comes into play?
Well, typically during a rate dip, that's when a lot of buyers who are sitting on the sidelines are ready to throw their hat in the ring and try to make purchases. The downside to waiting is everybody was waiting, so everybody's coming in to play the game at the same time. So, then you get into bidding wars and things of that nature. So your dream house that you had your heart set on might not be yours if you're not willing to play the bid war game.
Right.
So you do have to be a little bit careful if you wait too long for rates to come down.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to be cautious about that. And it's also the holiday time, too. People say, I'm going to wait till January. Guess what? The majority of other people are waiting till January. So listing your property, selling right now is actually a great time. Multiple reasons. People are moving for tax purposes. They want to get in that new home before December 31. Tax purposes, also you can file for your primary residence and get that Save Our Homes cap on your taxes. Job transfers, work transfers, lots of reasons why people should be making moves right now, not waiting.
Moving is very stressful. Holidays are very stressful. It's it makes sense to wait if you're looking for an anti-stress,
Strategy.
avenue. Yes,
Yeah.
But on the other side of that, if you're looking for everything to happen, boom, boom, boom. It's now is the hour. You can even get, if your house needs a new roof, it's a little bit of a segue, but, general contracting, they're looking for jobs during the holiday times because not a lot of people are doing home improvements. So if you have to get those improvements done before you're selling, now's the hour.
Yep, and we've got, companies, programs, too, where we can actually have repairs made during the escrow period. You can actually have repairs to your home, sometimes just light painting, changing the tone of the home, the dark walls, the harder textured walls, or the old wallpaper that you have. those types of things can be done with zero out of pocket. There's companies that we work with that will actually do the contracting work. Even if you have to remove a wall or add a bathroom, we can do that. We can get that done through one of our partners that will actually accept payment at closing. So you don't have to come out of pocket. A lot of people are kind of strapped for cash right now.
Yeah, that's a great deal.
Pretty cool program. We're talking with Heather Callahan, Fluxx Funding, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes, and we're talking mortgage and real estate here in the Tampa Bay market. Great time to get off the fence and into home ownership, especially for renters. Rents, also in this article, or actually this was the one from, I want to go to this other article here with the chief economist from NAR. Real estate is a fiercely competitive industry with about 150,000 new agents trying out in any given year, with an equal number dropping out. So people are coming in, some people are going out. I think right now, generally overall, more and more people are getting out. That is why commission charged, rebates, types of service offered, marketing skills, and a host of other activities that go into buying and selling are all over the map. Even a do-it-yourself FSBO for sale by owner is an option that's always available for consumers, although 90% of consumers have in recent years chose to work with a real estate professional. And this is, again, from Lawrence Yun. The entry and exit happens when the overall count of agents remain the same. This year, the net number of realtors dropped by 1.4%. Even in this competitive environment, home buyers are able to sift through who is good and who's reliable. 80-20 rule.
Always
20% of the realtors, the top professionals, doing 80% of the volume. Okay, 75% of home buyers were so satisfied with their agent service that they would definitely use the same agent and or recommend to others. And we talk about that. I teach that in one of the classes.
Easier to keep a client, isn't it?
Yeah, much easier to keep those folks happy, invite them to your parties, your gratitude parties, your follow-up events. Even those 150,000 or so agents who dropped out, one still has to admire their courage for testing out their entrepreneurial spirit. Many members who would like to see more restrictions to entry of new members, but DOJ would view such policy as collusive and a violation of antitrust. Okay, so now we're getting into where we're talking about this new lawsuit. All right, so one big warning sign for the future is that wealth inequality may be perpetuated with a new court ruling regarding agent compensation, buyer agent compensation. Minority first-time buyers made up 31% of all buyers. Okay, so I want to say that again. Minority first-time buyers made up 31% of all buyers, while 89% of home sellers were white. Let's remember, typically net wealth of a renter is $10,400, while that of a homeowner is almost $400,000, $396,000. Many in the media are gleefully celebrating the lawyer win over the home buyers without thinking about potential consequential disrupting a system that has worked so well for consumers in a fiercely competitive, non-collusive industry. So there's a lot there in that one paragraph, but what he's referring to is this NAR lawsuit. If you've been in real estate or you're hearing about that, people are hearing more and more about that. The NAR lawsuit came down, and there's a couple different ones. There's some settlements that were reached, but we're still far away from any major implications, changes made. We're getting, word from Keller Williams, just relax. It's not that big of a deal yet. It could potentially be, but just continue to work with your buyers, your sellers, your investors, and a lot more agents are looking at exclusive buyer brokerage agreements. The way that you can sign up your buyer to work with you, listing a home just like you would list a buyer. So anyhow, the NAR lawsuit, in my opinion, it's a form of Marxism. It's a way to tear down an existing power structure to try to redistribute the wealth. And then what's going to happen is going to be worse for first-time buyers. It's going to be worse for minorities. It's going to be worse for people that can't afford to pay a buyer agent or have to abide by these new laws, these new rules. So anyway, there's my take. We got to take a quick break, though, pay some bills. Heather Callahan in the house, Fluxx Funding on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to talk about this social media post. We got a realtor that got fined for posting on social media coming up here on the show. Also, investor purchases. Find out the latest stats around investors as well. Consumer Quarterback Show. Check us out online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
I want to give a special thanks to Satellite Phone Store. They just hooked me up with this beautiful satellite phone, and it's a gorgeous phone. It's a great device. It's a safety device as well. Think about it. If you're out on the boat 40, 50 miles out, maybe you're going hunting or you're going hiking in the woods somewhere, you run out of cell phone service, or who knows, maybe a possible terrorist attack. It's not like our politicians aren't entrenched in all this stuff going on overseas, all over the place, all over the world. Could be a terrorist attack. They could attack the power grid. They could attack the cell phones. Who knows what they're going to attack next. Sat123.com/REQB. Sat for satellite. Sat123.com/REQB, like real estate quarterback.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, top 100 ranked real estate team here in Tampa Bay. Always helping our sellers sell faster for more money, maximum exposure, maximum profit. And we have Heather Callahan in studio with us, Fluxx Funding, mortgage expert contributor here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We got some hot listings here in Tampa Bay. We like to feature our properties on air. 3048 Diana Drive. This is in Zephyr Hills. What you're getting here is 1.2 acres of land with a mobile home, a modular home, newer built, and you have access to USDA financing. That's 100% financing through the USDA on Diana Drive. Now, this is a spacious 4-bedroom property, 2 full bathrooms. You got a master suite with a garden tub, double sink, and a separate shower. Highly desirable area of South Zephyr Hills. Entertainment options abound, and the surrounding area as well. 3048 Diana Drive, Zephyr Hills. Great opportunity. Bring all your toys because you're out there in the rural area. You're going to bring your 4-wheelers, 3-wheelers, dirt bikes, and have some fun out there in that area. We got a commercial property here at 7202 US Highway 301 South in Riverview. This is a commercial property, corner lot location, mechanic shop, barber shop, 2 buildings, 2 separate rentals there that could be utilized as your business or rent one out. Potential for tremendous income. 7202 US Highway 301 South in Riverview, Florida. You can see all of our listings at platinumcoastalelite.com.
This is God's country.
All right, Heather, tell us about this realtor that was fined. So he's posting mortgage information on social media and got some kind of a fine.
Yes. Again, it's super exciting to put things on social media that will help us grow our business and hopefully, get people to respond to that. And rates are, happen to be one of those really cool things. Hey, we have I know somebody that can get you this rate right now. Unfortunately, the state of Florida frowns on that if you don't have an NMLS number. Who knows how the realtor got caught, but he was fined and, little slap on the hand for putting those rates up. So in order to overcome that, if you are, find your favorite mortgage, broker and partner with them. Use their NMLS number if you want to talk about rates and lending programs. That way you stay out of the dark. We all know every year we have to take our, continuing education. We know the do's and don'ts. And, you think something as little as putting an interest rate on there shouldn't be a big deal. But unfortunately, everybody's watching.
Yep, people
all
are
the
watching.
time.
Yep, and the NMLS number, by the way, it came about because back when the mortgage meltdown happened, there was a lot of fraud that happened, and there was really very little oversight or ability to track who gave out those loans or how that loan came about or who was that loan officer and who was that mortgage broker. There was actually no MLS number, which is kind of a social security number in a sense, to tie that person to the loan. So they were trying to track down who did these fraudulent loans, or who maybe forged these documents, etc. And they didn't have accountability. So that's where the NMLS number came from. But yeah, so we talked about rates starting to go down, and then I wanted to talk about investor purchases. So they're down 30% year over year, in the lowest level since 2016.
Correct. I can only speculate why. If I were an investor, I don't think I'd want to pay, top dollar and top interest rate for something. I think I would sit on the sidelines with cash and wait for something juicy. Because if you're buying something as an investor, you're going to be, still having to have somebody that can afford the rent to cover that mortgage. So, is it wise to jump in as an investor now, or is it wise to wait?
Right. And the challenge also is just lack of inventory. So
definitely lack of affordable inventory.
Yeah.
You've got to go high end, and there's not a whole lot of high end renters out there.
Yeah, exactly. So you have the inventory challenge. The rates are a challenge as well. But investors typically are going to be slinging cash around or taking out some investor type loans. But again, back to your point, when you have the higher, what we call it in commercial real estate is your debt service coverage ratio. So in other words, how much do I have to bring in to cover the debt? How much do I have to cover the mortgage, the taxes, insurance, principal, interest, the PITI, right? So that's the challenge, is finding that right price point to where you can then invest, make it a viable option. I'm talking to people too that are doing overseas deals. They're looking at other countries and other areas, and saying, hey, that this is an emerging market. Somewhat, you've got to kind of see that from a global scale, like where are the dollars at? Are you doing loans for any type of stuff like that, or do you guys have access to programs if somebody wanted to buy something in a different market, say the Caribbean or something like that?
We personally don't, but and I actually don't know when it comes to making purchases overseas with the money. But if you're coming this way, we do. If you are, an international investor looking for property in the United States, yes, we can help with those programs.
Yep, that'd be interesting. I'm sure you could shop that. You could find deals, for folks. Talk to me about renters, because I really, my heart goes out to those renters. Sometimes they just get stuck in that mode of renting, and, talking to my audience now, maybe it's not you, maybe it's not, but it's someone in your family. Somebody that's renting. Right now is such a great time to get in the game of home ownership, and a lot of times they can do it for less money down, less money out of pocket. In other words, there's a lot of preconceived notions and a lot of misnomers around getting into home ownership. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's what I think it boils down to, the misnomers of getting into home ownership. The short answer is, if you have a 2-year history at your job, and and a 2-year history of good rent, you have a high chance of being approved for all the programs that are associated with first time home buyers. There are a lot of programs out there that will help you with your down payment, and working with other brokers who can help you with the right interest rates. And you don't know unless you apply. We can check your interest, or not, excuse me, your consumer. Why am I blank on that?
Well, yeah. What happens is,
I'm talking so fast I forget all the words that I'm going to use, as usual. But your credit scores and things of that nature, you don't know unless you find out. You can assume your credit score is low, or maybe you don't have one. But the truth of the matter is, it really doesn't take much to have a credit score. And so you're probably sitting on a good situation. You just really don't know until you have that conversation with someone.
And you can add trade lines. There's ways to add, electric bills, or if you're paying rent to your landlord, have him add those. There's ways that you can do that, get creative, improve your credit. And that's all you need. You got to just have, an average credit score. Get into home ownership. There's ways that we can structure deals to help you win and to help you start building up equity, paying your own mortgage instead of paying your landlord's mortgage. All right. So Heather Callahan, Fluxx Funding. How do you want people to connect? What's the website?
You can get a hold of me at heather@fluxxfunding.com, FLUXX funding.com, or apply with Heather C as in Charlie.com.
All right, good stuff. Also online at consumerqb.com. You can see links there to Robert's page as well. So, all right, hey, coming up, Jason Mears, insurance expert contributor, talking about insurance. We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to My Daddy's Show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast.